Well, good afternoon, everyone. We do need to get started, so I'll speak slowly while the food line continues. My name is Andrew Finstu, and I'm the Dean of the Honors College, and I help steward a group of faculty through the top 10 selection process at the university level. And we're so excited that you're here. So on behalf of the campus community, the faculty to help make the selections, and all of our students, welcome to the Top 10 ceremony at Boise State University. And this is a special one. It's the 40th anniversary of the Top 10 tradition here at Boise State. And so to mark that 40th anniversary, we welcomed back former Top 10 scholars and their honored faculty earlier this afternoon, and they had an opportunity to visit with one another, and many of them are here with us in the room this evening. I'd like to give those past Top 10 scholars a round of applause. Thank you for being here today at the Stueckle Sky Center, and we also have an audience joining us online. Welcome to those of you joining us in that way. So 40 years of a tradition where the Alumni Association and the Boise State campus community recognizes the top students at Boise State University. How have we identified these top 10, and how did we identify the 390 that came before them? Well, it starts with their GPAs. To be eligible for top 10, you must have a cumulative GPA of 3.8 or above. And then on the basis of that, students apply to their colleges, across all of our degree-granting colleges, to a faculty committee within their colleges that looks at their GPA, their coursework, their research opportunities, what creative work they've done, what publications they may have had, what presentations they've made at professional meetings or conferences, and extracurricular and community service. And as you'll see, as the scholars speak and as their faculty mentors speak, what wonderful examples of intellectual inquiry and intellectual imagination and activity they bring to this university. So once the students are selected, I mentioned a moment ago, they have honored faculty. They choose a faculty member or a staff member who's been highly influential in their career here, supported them along their way, and so we also are going to honor and appreciate their faculty or staff mentors. And to our honorees, to those of you being honored today, and on behalf of the Alumni Association, we want you to stay in touch. We know on Saturday you have graduation and you're going to go from here and do marvelous things. We'll hear about some of those this afternoon. But regardless of where you end up, please do stay connected with your Boise State community and family. Boise State Alumni Office has all kinds of events happening that would be of interest to you and opportunities to engage and stay connected. So please do consider that. But now we are here to celebrate your successes. And with that, I want to say congratulations. But before we hear from the wonderful and outstanding students, I get to introduce our outstanding 7th president of Boise State University. Dr. Marlene Tromp is committed to supporting students, faculty, serving the state of Idaho, and helping the university foster research excellence to increase discovery for the students and for our world. Please welcome Dr. Marlene Tromp.
I just have to tell you how excited I am to be here and to see all of you, because the reason that I do this work is because of our students. And it's so extraordinary to sit in this room. And of course, we could have top 20 or top 30 and you would hear just as many amazing stories, but to hear these top 10 scholars, I just am so excited for you to hear from them. We have over 100,000 living alumni. So just think for a moment what that means about these top 10. You are a rarity, our top 10 scholars. You have been named in the top tier of some of the most amazing, innovative, and transformational people in this university, and as we have seen from people who have held these positions before, in our country. Our academic trajectory here has been unrivaled nationally. We've been named one of the most innovative universities in the country year over year. And the reason for that is because of our extraordinary faculty and the exceptional students with whom they have the privilege to work. We trailblaze, we create new ideas and new ways of thinking. We approach things in ways that other universities don't. In fact, one of the most exciting parts for me of coming to Boise State was hearing the faculty and staff say when I arrived for my interview, after working at universities all over the country and having people say, oh, that's not how we do it here. Or we tried that once in 1986. At Boise State, when I said, well, what if, people said, would that work better for the students? We'll try that. And how about if we try these 3 other things too? It's a place where people believe in blue turf thinking. We don't just have a blue football field for our football team and commencement exercises. That blue football field represents something very powerful metaphorically. What people at Boise State said was, you know, AstroTurf, it's not real grass. Doesn't have to be green. And now, if anyone else in the country wants to have a different color of turf, they have to get our permission. True story. Because we were the trailblazers. That's what this university stands for, is blue turf thinking. And what we are so excited about with these top 10 scholars and all that they represent, the hundreds and thousands of students that they represent, is the way that they have embraced that way of thinking to make their mark, to take their gifts and make their mark on the world around them. So tonight is about shining a spotlight on them, all they've given back to the university, and the way that we share the excitement of seeing them take those talents and do extraordinary things already. So I feel like what I get to do every day is share my excitement about this rocket ship that Boise State University is as we shoot along this amazing trajectory. And what tonight gets to be is some evidence of why and how. So thank you for being here tonight to celebrate our extraordinary top 10 scholars, and go Broncos.
Thank you, Dr. Tromp. And now we get to hear from our faculty and our students. The way this will work is each faculty member will come up and introduce their student, and we'll go through all of the 10, and they get to say the remarks, and you get to enjoy, as we have talked about already, the amazing things that they've done at this university through the amazing mentorship of our faculty. So to start us off, I have the honor of introducing Dr. Michal Temkin-Martinez to introduce Ali Orr.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michal Temkin-Martinez. I'm a professor of linguistics and the Honors College faculty in residence here at Boise State. Today, I have the honor and the difficult task of introducing our first 2022 top 10 scholar, Ali Orr. I was recently introduced to Ali Orr the same way that many of you were, when on the morning of December 3rd, 2021, I opened my email inbox to a new email titled Scholarship for Medicated, Meddlesome, and Quarrelsome Women. The email was short and to the point. A disheartened student decided to take initiative and begin an off-the-grid fundraiser for a scholarship for women pursuing careers in STEM, medicine, and law. Like many others, I was inspired by Ali's actions, and I didn't hesitate to donate. I was impressed by her goal, her chutzpah, as we like to say, to stand up for what's right when so many of us felt helpless. So how can I properly introduce Ali to you? She's been interviewed in national venues, she's introduced herself to all of us, and you'll hear from her in just a minute. The best thing I can do today is to tell you about the Ali that I got to know this semester as a student in my honors senior seminar class. Ali is simply one of the most genuinely caring and thoughtful students that I've had the pleasure to know in my 20+ years as a faculty member. In our course's group discussions, I had a front row seat to watching her thoughtfully navigate difficult topics and multiple perspectives while making sure that every single group member had the chance to speak and to truly be heard. And I lost my spot. Okay. All right, got that out of the way. To truly be heard by everyone. She often empowered members of the group to contribute to their thoughts in the larger class discussion by introducing their ideas to the class and then asking them to continue sharing, having, of course, asked them in the smaller group if they'd be comfortable doing so. A brilliant way of making sure that their voices are heard. She was also, of course, never worried to make sure that her own voice was heard. Ali, also on the topic of hearing, Ali has exceptional sense of hearing. She was sitting right next to me after I wished everybody a great weekend, and then realized I wasn't sure it was Thursday. So I asked, is it really Thursday? And somebody confirmed it, and I said, oh, thank God. To which Ali immediately said, oh my God, are you okay? We had a great laugh about that. Ali is also really amazing at staying in character. She reminded me just last week that we actually met during her first year at Boise State, when during the Valentine's Day prom event that the Honors College held, Ali dressed and acted as Napoleon Dynamite the entire evening. She was totally unrecognizable and performed the most amazingly authentic Napoleon Dynamite dance scene, beating out some of our semi-professional ballroom dancers for the first place prize that night. We couldn't convince the folks in charge tonight to let us show the video, but Ali has it on her phone, and I'm sure she'll show it to you if you ask for it. It's simply epic. Ali is an emotionally intelligent, energetic, and all-around awesome young woman, and I simply can't wait to see all of the amazing things that she continues to accomplish and the way that she continues to support others along the way. Ali, we're ready for your acceptance speech.
Thank you. I didn't know she knew that until last week. I'm honored to accept this award and be listed as a top 10 scholar next to these amazing students. And among them is one of my closest friends, Sierra. And I want to thank her first for showing me what true advocacy is and for showing me what it means to be a leader. Sierra has been an advocate in the type 1 diabetes community for many years, and she's always chosen to stand up for herself and others, which has not always resulted in positive consequences. I stepped into the complicated world of advocacy in December when I began fundraising on GoFundMe to create a scholarship for women studying STEM, medicine, and law. At Boise State, after a Boise State professor stated on a national level that fewer women should be recruited into those exact fields of study. It was incredibly scary to take a stand against a faculty member here, and I didn't know what the consequences would be, good or bad. So I was really hesitant at first. But I'm so glad I decided to go forward with this fundraising campaign because today the scholarship fund is up to $203,917 with an additional $250,000 estate commitment. I awarded the scholarship to the first student recipient just last week to a woman studying engineering here at Boise State. Throughout this experience of creating the scholarship, I expected to be shown grace, acceptance, and support, and I did, but I also received pushback for supporting women. Sierra told me, there are usually consequences for doing good things. My parents have been right by my side throughout this entire journey, and on day one they said, get ready for a lot of hate, but we support your decision and we'll be right here. I wasn't ready, but I would do it all over again in a heartbeat because I met some of my closest friends whom I brought with me today. My honored faculty, Michal, I met once my freshman year doing Napoleon Dynamite, and then again in the honors seminar class just 15 weeks ago. Nearly every week, we would ask each other, "Are you okay?" No, really, are you doing okay? She's been a positive influence during my senior year and so supportive of my endeavors. As Michal explained, she also didn't know who I was until I sent out those emails to nearly the entire faculty and staff here at Boise State on the night of December 2nd, when I opened the GoFundMe asking for donations for the scholarship. So if anyone else in this room got an email asking for money, it wasn't the IRS, it was definitely me. My time at Boise State has been filled with moments of taking risks and trying new things. In my freshman year, I decided to try something new and joined Dance Marathon as a morale leader, which is a 6-month fundraising campaign ending with a 24-hour dance party put on by colleges everywhere, including Boise State, to raise money for children's hospitals. In my time at Boise State, I personally raised over $3,000, and as a team, we raised over $200,000 each year for Boise St. Luke's Hospital. Dance Marathon was my community at Boise State from freshman to junior year, and that's when I met Sierra. I was in the quad, as every college student does, advocating for their favorite organizations, and I was doing the worm on the concrete with Buster Bronco, my hero. When Sierra, who was with Buster, approached me and asked if I wanted to try out and be a Buster, of course I did. So not only have some of you received emails from me asking for money, you may have also high-fived me, chest bumped me, or hugged me and not even known it. You are welcome, Bronco Nation. I also want to thank my parents for the way that they've supported me throughout my college career. Freshman year, I left Vancouver, Washington, and they dropped me off and became empty nesters. Sophomore year, they got me handed right back to them because of the pandemic. The pandemic has negatively touched lives, and it's changed the world in so many ways. And one of the ways it's changed my life is the relationship I have with my parents. Living at home for almost a year, I felt lost from the Boise community because it was stripped away. I could no longer walk over to a friend's apartment, meet with professors face-to-face, or even with other students in the library to do projects. My parents continued to show up for me when I lost my connection to Boise State. We went on weekly hikes in 2020, and they drove 6.5 hours to every football game I was Buster Bronco for. And they answered my late-night calls when I would get excited about another $1,000 donated to the scholarship. And they were there for me when I wanted to quit. It reminded me simply that life is hard. Life is hard. And one of my guests, Matthew Ewing, has a wonderful quote in his office that has stuck with me since I saw it, and it reads, "Hard things are hard." I would like those words to represent my time here at Boise State because it has been hard, but partly my fault. Why did I open that GoFundMe? I don't know. But it's been a worthwhile and meaningful experience because of people cheering me on every step of the way. So thank you, Mom and Dad, Sierra, Michal, Gary, Matthew, Argia, and Joe, for showing up for me today and every day before when things got hard, because it's led me to being here today and accepting this award. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for being here to celebrate all of these wonderful students with us this evening. I'm Dr. Kathy Olshanowski, and I am faculty in the Computer Science Department. I want to thank Anna for choosing me to introduce them today. I'm sorry, I'm starting off a little nervous here. I'm going to correct myself. It is my sincere honor and pleasure. I met Anna in the spring of 2020, what seems like a lifetime ago. We both attended a social event in the CS department, and I was struck by how Anna spoke about computer science. I asked them to apply to Adapt Lab, and that turned out to be the beginning of an exciting journey. Anna was in their second semester at BSU. Typically, this means the students will attend meetings and they might write some limited testings, but contributions are limited. Anna had different plans. Anna exemplifies research excellence. They started contributing to compiler research software immediately. Now, not everyone here is a computer scientist, so I will tell you that a compiler is a piece of code that takes human-readable code and turns it into readable code. Lots of code in there. A standard textbook is fondly referred to as the dragon book, because writing compilers is like slaying a dragon. It is the peak in software engineering complexity, combined together with every theory class and math class you never thought you needed, okay? Anna Dovin wrote quality code well beyond their training level. Anna exemplifies academic excellence. Professors want the best students in their labs, and so I would regularly be approached by other professors who were hoping that Anna was bored of working in my lab and ready to work in theirs, because Anna was the best student in every class. Anna exemplifies leadership. I want to be very clear on this. Student leaders take many forms. Some are highly visible in named positions, and some, like Anna, lead naturally, steering their peers steadily and quietly without many people even realizing it. This type of leadership is truly rare and truly impressive to watch in action. I saw it in lab meetings and in informal peer interactions. Other professors saw it in their classes. Anna also identified a need in their community when the Gender Equity Center slowed down due to the pandemic, and along with their partner, started a student-run organization, the Queer STEM Club. This club serves over 60 members, providing a safe place for some of our most disenfranchised students. And finally, Anna exemplifies strength. I think we can all agree that all of these students have excelled under highly unusual and very challenging circumstances. I don't know a person that hasn't struggled the past few years. Now, add to that a national conversation on whether or not you should exist, on whether or not your identity makes you a predator, on whether or not you have the right to pursue medical care. Let that discomfort and pain sit on you just for a moment. And acknowledge the incredible strength of character it takes to not only show up every day, work hard every day, but also achieve at a higher level than any of your peers, and to do that with kindness, compassion, and understanding. Anna, you are truly a marvel. I hope you know how much you mean to me and your lab mates. Thank you for including us in your journey. It has been an honor.
Okay, sounds good. Warning, this one's kind of a downer, so you're ready. I feel very strongly that I don't belong up here. Not because I think I'm inadequate in any way, but because I feel I'm not the kind of person it makes sense to choose for something like this. I feel no sense of community with this school or my peers, but here I am being held up as a great example among them. I don't know how to reconcile this with my feeling of being an outsider. When I first applied for top 10 scholars, I had no intention of coming here if I were to be selected. I'm no fan of public speaking, and I didn't feel any burning desire to contribute to this university's PR. But since then, I reflected on how I've spent years trying to make myself as invisible as possible on this campus. After all that, it almost felt like a slap in the face to be selected for this and praised and have my picture put on posters and everything. It felt hypocritical to be held up as a good example in a place that's made me feel the way I have, but I felt that I would be betraying my own experience to maintain my invisibility forever. I came out as transgender during my last year of high school, which was a difficult time on its own, and I hoped that I could turn over a new leaf coming to Boise State. Instead, I was treated every day as a spectacle, an object in both senses of curiosity, and a walking science project. After a while, that's how I learned to see myself. I withdrew to the greatest extent I could. I won't go through a laundry list of experiences that led me to this. After all, one of the things I've learned here at BSU is that I can't expect empathy or understanding anywhere but queer spaces. Here are some more things I learned. I learned not to speak to my peers or to answer questions in class, unless I had to for participation points. I learned not to dress how I wanted and to stick to the most innocuous clothes possible. I learned to do everything on my own, no study groups, no tutoring centers, and working alone on any group project that would allow it. I learned not to drink water on campus, so I wouldn't have to decide to use which gendered bathroom to use, because being dehydrated every day was easier than having to prepare myself for whatever reactions people would have that day. I learned not to consider myself a full human being. Within these constraints, I did the best I could, and at least academically, I've done well. I'm doing better now than I was during my first few semesters, but not all for the right reasons. I've become a more jaded, cynical, and angry person than I was when I started. I hope after I leave here, I can begin working to undo these things I've learned. I didn't come here today just to complain. There are some people who are bright spots in my time here that I think are important to mention. Firstly, my mom has been the biggest influence in my academic inclination throughout my life. She's the main reason I even attended college after having a really difficult time in high school. And I've always loved learning but struggled with the demands of a school environment, and in way too many ways to even list, she's always worked at every opportunity to make the world possible for me to participate in. She's advocated for me at every turn and made it possible for me to accomplish anything I wanted. I'd also like to thank my advisor, Dr. Olshanowski, of course. The most important part of my academics here at BSU has been participation in her ADAPT lab. And thanks largely to her, ADAPT has been the most welcoming academic space I've been part of, and the only one where I feel comfortable enough to collaborate with others. Finally, my partner Paisley, who recently graduated from BSU, has been the happiest part of my time in college. They've contributed greatly to my mental health and made the last 3 years much easier to get through. One of my proudest accomplishments in my time here at BSU can be credited largely to them. We created the Queer STEM Club together, providing a space for people feeling the same sense of isolation as us. Paisley was the primary driving force behind making the club what it's become today, which is an important part of the mosaic of queer spaces on campus. It's important to note that my life and that of every trans person in this country is set against the backdrop of a national conversation that has seen it become very popular and socially acceptable to debate our basic human rights. For example, just a few months in Idaho, a bill passed the House that would make it a felony to provide trans minors with gender-related health care. I went to give public comment on this bill when it was in committee, and like most of the other queer people in the audience, was unable to. Instead, more time was reserved for us to hear testimony, not even from Idaho residents, about how we're disgusting, how our bodies are disfigured, and how we represent a threat to children. Although the bill was never heard in Senate and died by default, this outcome was by no means certain. And this kind of legislation is not exceptional in our country. I've tried and failed to find words to explain how disheartening this is. The best way I can explain it is, although I already narrowly survived the part of my life where this bill would have affected me personally, I know people that it would have killed. Trans people go about our lives every day in the context of this dehumanization, knowing that the majority of our would-be friends and neighbors fall somewhere between not fully respecting our identities and believing we should be dead. I think every day about my fellow trans people who are not as fortunate as me and who didn't make it out. I think about how close I've come to joining them, and I wonder if I'll ever truly be far from it. For them and for those still living, I promise to persist, to outlive our enemies, and to one day die naturally of old age. Thanks, everyone.
Well, thanks for sharing, Anna. Hello and good evening. I'm Dr. Paul Davis, manager of the Surface Science Laboratory, and it's my honor to introduce the next 2022 Top 10 Scholar, Material Science and Engineering major, Audrey Parker. Given that Audrey grew up here in the Treasure Valley and both of her parents graduated from Boise State, she was seemingly destined to be a Bronco. And receiving an Alumni Legacy Scholarship upon graduation from Centennial High School sealed the deal. However, Audrey's mom majored in computer science, or computer information systems, while her dad was a finance major. So why did Audrey decide to major in material science and engineering? Well, like me, Audrey loved her high school chemistry courses, but she also found engineering fascinating, and material science and engineering combines the two. Since coming to Boise State, Audrey's been busy. She's played on at least 8 different intramural teams. She's an expert golf player. She served as a College of Engineering peer ambassador and peer advisor, as well as helped with the annual Science and Engineering Festival that used to bring 5,000 to 8,000 guests to campus each February, back before COVID was a thing. She's also been an active member of both the Society of Women Engineers and the Honors College, and was honored as Outstanding MSc Major last year by the Idaho Society of Professional Engineers. Finally, in addition to serving as Vice President of the Idaho Gamma Chapter of the Tau Beta Pi Engineering Honors Society, Audrey was recently awarded a Tau Beta Pi Graduate Fellowship, which she'll use to pursue a PhD in environmental engineering at MIT. There, Audrey's going to be investigating in novel catalysts for low-level greenhouse gas abatement, in particular methane, which can be released from swamps or cow pastures. This will enable her to pursue her passion for protecting the environment while applying her Boise State education and research experience. As for me, I came to know Audrey the summer after her freshman year at Boise State when she applied for a position in my research lab, the Surface Science Lab, or SSL. We use a suite of atomic force microscopes, or AFMs, to study materials on the nanometer scale, which is a millionth of a millimeter, so ridiculously small. These microscopes enable us to see things, extremely small things, by scanning an almost atomically sharp needle over a surface, similar to like a record player or a blind person reading Braille. Audrey's earned the right to have 24/7 access to the lab to access these AFMs, which cost about $500,000 apiece. She routinely uses them to measure and generate topographical maps, as well as measure mechanical, electrical, and magnetic properties of interest. And it's been a real pleasure to watch Audrey grow in confidence as a researcher over the past years, to the point where for the past year or so, she's been leading a collaboration with a professor at the University of Delaware that's been funded by a Higher Education Research Council of Idaho fellowship that she secured. I unfortunately can't go into all the details of that project because even the 3-minute lightning talk that she gave last week at the Undergraduate Research Symposium would take up the entire time slot that I have to introduce her. But the basic idea is that Audrey is using a small magnetized AFM probe to produce images of square and hexagonal lattices. So think like a waffle and a honeycomb of these nanoscale bar magnets. And the hope is that these tiny magnets, which reach 100 to 1,000 times smaller than the width of a human hair, can be used for next-generation data storage and computation. Audrey's work has resulted in her being the lead author on a paper that's been submitted for publication in the Journal of Visualized Experiments that's devoted to advanced AFM imaging methods. Unfortunately, however, all good things have to come to an end, and Audrey's going to be graduating and leaving the SSL soon. However, she'll be making full use of her Boise State education and research experience as a graduate student at MIT with Dr. Desiree Plata, including not only the time in the SSL with me and writing the journal article that I just mentioned, but also her time in Professor Scott Phillips' lab, investigating recycling of post-consumer plastics, and the summer that she previously spent in the Plata lab at MIT. And she's going to be making a positive difference in the world and our shared environment, which I'm really proud of. Last year, I got to have the pleasure in a greatly reduced crowd because of COVID, of introducing 2021 top 10 scholar Sophia Mitchell, who mentored Audrey when she first joined the lab. Between the two of them, they set the bar high for the rest of the SSL team. You know, there's no pressure. But please join me in welcoming 2022 top 10 scholar Audrey Parker.
Thank you, Paul, for the introduction. I feel deeply honored to have been selected by the Alumni Association and the Honors College and to share this award with such a distinguished group of soon-to-be Boise State graduates. Having been born and raised here in Boise, Idaho, there were two things my family never missed: weekends exploring the Sawtooth Mountains in Stanley, Idaho, and Bronco football games. Boise State has certainly left its legacy on my family. Both of my parents are Boise State graduates, and ever since I was a kid, the university has embodied a place of community and belonging. Growing up, I always knew that I would find my way to Boise State, especially considering some of my first baby pictures are of me sporting a Bronco Nation outfit. But what I didn't know growing up was that I would end up studying engineering here at BSU, because frankly, I didn't really know what engineering was. Though I took my first engineering classes in high school, following in the footsteps of my much smarter older sister, who had somehow convinced me that engineering was much more than endless math problems. It wasn't until I came to Boise State that I was able to fully develop and pursue my passion for engineering while advancing my capabilities as a researcher and a scholar. The university introduced me to material science and engineering, where I have been able to combine my loves for chemistry and problem solving to make a positive difference on our world. I began my very first research experience here at Boise State the summer following my freshman year in the Surface Science Laboratory under Director Dr. Paul Davis. My first project was a collaboration with the Idaho National Lab, where I worked to characterize sustainable fuel sources. This project first introduced me to the cross-section of environmental engineering and material science and engineering, combining my love for problem solving and environmental stewardship. It was the perfect outlet for me to explore the world of engineering and sustainability, and my ongoing research in this lab cemented my long-held intention of pursuing graduate-level research. The experiences and mentorship I received at Boise State gained me acceptance into the MIT Summer Research Program, where I was one of only 59 people accepted throughout the world. While researching environmental engineering at one of the nation's top engineering schools, it became abundantly clear that my education at Boise State had fully prepared me to leave a significant impact on our world. My success at MIT is a direct result of my skills learned and opportunities provided while here at Boise State. Beginning in the fall of 2022, I'm excited to announce that I will be attending MIT to pursue my PhD in environmental engineering. I'm beyond excited to research greenhouse gas abatement strategies and use my experiences and connections made at Boise State to foster meaningful environmental change. Such a renowned and rewarding academic experience would not have been possible without many people who have influenced and supported my journey. I would first like to thank Dr. Paul Davis, Dr. Megan Frary, and Dr. Shelton Woods for providing me with continuous mentorship and guidance throughout my undergraduate career. Without each of these individuals, I would have never considered pursuing graduate school. Secondly, I cannot emphasize enough my sincere gratitude for my group of friends who have given me the courage and confidence to believe in a dream that is bigger than myself. Specifically, I would like to thank my roommates Lily Sessum and Abby Schaff for turning our college house into a loving home full of laughter and lifelong friendships. I would also like to thank my close friend Hannah Byers, who managed to make thermodynamics homework enjoyable. Her resilience and tenacity as a fellow woman in STEM never fail to amaze and inspire me. I have the pleasure of sharing this award with two of my other close friends, Claire Volgay and Kade Solich. Kade has never once failed to make me laugh and pick me up when I'm down, and continues to be unapologetically and authentically himself. Claire has remained one of my closest friends since elementary school, and after our 13 years of friendship, I still have yet to meet someone more passionate about our environment than her. Additionally, I would like to thank my boyfriend, Zach, who for the past 5.5 years has stood by my side no matter what, and whose dedication, patience, and unconditional kindness continue to inspire me every day. Lastly, I would like to show my appreciation to my family for this award. My older sister, Kelsey, has always managed to set the bar high, and if it wasn't for her, I would have never pursued engineering in the first place. My mom and dad have given me the extraordinary guidance and support, and have continued to make sacrifices to provide me with the necessary resources for chasing my dreams. They have always been my #1 cheerleaders, and I am very much grateful to them. These individuals and many others were the pillars behind my success, and I can assure you that without their influence, I would not be standing here today. Again, I would like to send my thanks to the Alumni Association and the Honors College for this honor. Thank you.
Thankfully, they've provided our speeches in large font here, because this is the first time I've worn a suit in a year, and while getting dressed, I neglected to actually bring reading glasses. So I'm Ken Cornell. I'm a professor of chemistry. And it's my honor today to introduce Kade Solich. He's a pre-medical biology student who first started working with me a little over 2 years ago. And his role in my lab was to be an undergraduate researcher working in a vertically integrated projects course in plasma medicine, which dovetails nicely with his career goals to go into medicine himself. As a top 10 scholar, then, Kade shares the attributes we expect for all of these fine students. He has fantastic grades, really noteworthy, probably a daunting level of A's and A pluses. And these have included very difficult courses for a lot of students, and I've been working for 30 years with pre-medical students. Organic chemistry is never easy. Physics, my own favorite, biochemistry. A lot of them serve as gatekeepers for who gets to go on and who doesn't. And so he's succeeded in all of these courses, but somehow, being young, he's managed to do even more than that, and he's succeeded in a whole array of extracurricular activities as well. And some of these have included being an officer in the Associated Student Body and helping to fund student projects, so working with the Student Funding Board. He's also served as a peer mentor and as an internal events planner in the Honors College. And I have some personal knowledge of this because my son is also in the Honors College here, and he knew of Kade through Kade's work with that college. But because there were probably still a few minutes or hours left in the week, he also worked at medical clinics, and he's recently become a scribe working in hospitals. So let's say he is a fine representative of what we expect then for top 10 scholars. What isn't immediately apparent, however, from his academic record, although we could infer it from his grades, is the level of discipline and dedication that Kade brings to accomplishing his goals. I have some personal experience with this as well. I think I could refer to him as relentless. He did stalk me for the better part of 4 months, trying to join my lab. He, in fact, found me at a poster session where he walked up to me and he said he was very interested in this, and he had been trying to get a hold of a Dr. Cornell, but Dr. Cornell wouldn't return his emails. And I had to say, that's me. Okay. He did join my lab just a matter of weeks later, and I've been very happy with him in the lab ever since then. In fact, I've often wondered why it is we allow our best students to go on, and maybe we need to set a different standard. Maybe an occasional F wouldn't be so bad. In my lab, one of the great things I've come to appreciate about Kade is his ability to work with a diverse group of students. He's been instrumental in providing the data that went into a recent Trailblazer Award that was given to my lab to pursue plasma projects. I've had him work with students from all across campus, particularly some students that can be a little bit challenging. Engineers, okay. And I would say that much of this I really, I really attribute it to his inherent congenial nature. He is excessively kind. He's also exceedingly polite, sometimes to the point where I've wondered if there wasn't something wrong. But I think that just goes to show that his parents raised him right. So I would say, in general, Kade works well with everybody. I'm sure he's going to find that very much to his credit and his benefit as he goes on in a career in medicine. I will also say that he has accomplished a lot in my lab. He has presented his work at numerous venues. As I've said, his work has gone into grant applications that have been funded to the lab for over $500,000. So it's going to be difficult for me to see him leave. And he's currently a co-author on a manuscript that we're working on that covers a lot of his work with a plasma jet device. I'll close by saying that it's been my great pleasure to have Kade work with me in the lab for the last 2 years. He really has earned this top 10 scholar award by his ceaseless efforts, and he's one of the finest students that I've worked with in the past 30 years. He's a fine example, really, of what we as educators hope that our students can achieve, and I have no doubt that he's going to achieve his goals as he goes on to medical school. So with that, please welcome Kade Solich, the top 10 scholar awardee from the College of Arts and Sciences.
Okay. Believe it or not, Dr. Cornell and I did not plan to actually match today. That just happened naturally. So, as I accept this award, which is a summation of my entire Boise State undergraduate experience, I can't help but reflect on the process I took to reach this point. My family and I moved to Idaho after I finished elementary school. Before the move, the only thing that I knew about Idaho was that it had a blue collegiate football field. Regardless, that was all I needed to be excited. 7 years later, as a senior in high school, I decided that the best fit for my education was that same college with the blue football field that initially got me excited to live in Idaho. At the time, I was content with my decision to pursue Boise State solely. As I look back over the last 4 years, I'm even more content with my decision. In all, my acceptance of the Top 10 Scholar Award is less of a reflection of me and more of a reflection of the plethora of opportunities presented to me by Boise State. For example, Boise State allowed me the possibility to pursue scientific research as a college sophomore when I had minimal knowledge of almost every scientific discipline. Regardless, thanks to Dr. Ken Cornell's patience and endurance, he helped facilitate an environment where I could ask questions, develop my understanding of research techniques, and allow me to build my scientific knowledge. And like most of the faculty I've worked with at Boise State, he pushed me to achieve more, even when I was blind to the opportunity in front of me. There was an instance when I was not selected for a summer research fellowship. My initial reaction was to be complacent and accept the loss. However, Dr. Cornell didn't give up and vouched for me to receive a different, and in my opinion, better fellowship. I can stand here today because of Dr. Ken Cornell's relentless pursuit of my success and development, and for that, I will always be grateful. I've had many science professors throughout my time at Boise State, and there's one biology instructor that I want to thank in particular. I've had Emily Meredith as a professor for 5 different classes, spanning all 4 years of my higher education. The other day, she told me that she still remembers where I and several of my classmates sat in the lecture hall during her freshman year. It has been an exceptional experience to develop as a scientist and person throughout many of her classes. I remember that while sitting her microbiology course, I had the realization that medicine deeply interested me, and that is what I wanted to pursue after college. Thank you, Emily Meredith, for being such a wonderful and caring professor. I also appreciate the incredible staff and faculty of the Honors College. I've never been pushed harder to improve my writing and critical reasoning skills. Every faculty and staff member has shown unconditional kindness, warmth, and genuine enthusiasm for my accomplishments. I want to thank Dr. Annelle Friends, the head of my honors house, for being a mentor while on the House Council and helping to meet with me once a year just to check in. I also want to thank Dr. Chris Heyer for his patience in teaching me that higher education consists of more than earning good grades in my classes. This was a difficult lesson for me to grasp. I also want to thank him for his assistance in developing my leadership while as a member of the Student Honors Association. I also want to thank Brandy Vanderbilt for assisting me over the last 4 years in making sure that I was able to graduate from the Honors College. I know it was not easy with all the adjustments I wanted to make to my schedule. The Honors College has been instrumental in the success that I have found throughout my college career. I am beyond elated to represent the Honors College as I stand here today. While exploring opportunities present outside the classroom, the Student Involvement Leadership Center was central to my development as a leader. I want to thank Jen Fields and America Yorita Karen for always providing me guidance and helping me to strive for the next leadership role opportunity available. My time spent on ASBSU was memorable thanks to their commitment to fostering a welcoming and constructive environment to exchange opinions and grow as a person. And of course, I must give an enormous thank you to my parents and family. I want to thank my parents for always talking with me on the phone every day. Even though the conversations might not have always been long, receiving your continuous support and encouragement greatly impacted my college career. I will always be thankful that I can turn to you to vent, talk about any uncertainties, or reflect on various occurrences. I would not have been able to perform as well as I had in college if it were not for the love and admiration that you provide me with every day. Thanks again, and I love you. And then I also want to give a big shout out to all my friends that helped me along my journey through Boise State as well. And after Boise State, I hope to pursue my dream of becoming a doctor. I plan to take a few gap years that will be spent working as a medical scribe for the Family Medicine Residency of Idaho, volunteering, and studying for the MCAT. With the prospect of another decade of education, I figured it wouldn't be a bad idea to enjoy some of my 20s. Once a practicing physician, though, I hope to work toward creating equal access to healthcare for patients of all backgrounds. To conclude my acceptance speech, I want to congratulate my peers who are also receiving the award of Top 10 Scholar. Over the last 4 years, I have grown and learned alongside some of you. A big shout out to Audrey, Claire, and Kate. I have witnessed firsthand the immense work and dedication you all have put into your studies and extracurricular work. You are all a huge inspiration to me. And of my 9 fellow recipients, there is no other group of people who are more deserving of this award. As much as we have all changed while at Boise State, I know you will each change the world to an even greater degree. I can't wait to see what everyone here will accomplish, and I hope you all know that I'll always be in your corner, cheering for you and your success. Thank you again for the honor Top 10 Scholar, and go Broncos.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Liam Marr, and I'm an assistant professor in the College of Business and Economics in the Department of Management. It is my honor to introduce Lan Nguyen. I'd like to start by tonight welcoming her mother, who's watching all the way from Ho Chi Minh City, Volgay, and we wish you were here with us. You're here with us in spirit. She was a student in my leadership skills class, and her innate curiosity and love for learning was on display for all to see. She approached me with questions about the material, specifically around leadership and how leaders can use humor to connect with their subordinates. I challenged her to design a study, collect data, and I was so blown away by her intelligence and her drive and her tenacity that we've been research collaborators ever since. Chi's dedication to her studies are truly unmatched. She maintained a perfect 4.0 GPA during her time here at Boise State, and the quality of her work has been recognized by over 10 organizations, including the Society for Human Resource Management and Beta Gamma Sigma. Many of us in this room know the dedication and the time, or we can at least imagine the type of dedication and sacrifice it takes to maintain this level of perfection, but that's not what's most impressive about Chi. She's achieved this level of excellence while participating in just a monumentous amount of extracurricular work, leadership, and service to our community. Together, we've published one journal article, and she is working on 4 other research projects right now with my colleagues and me. She's held 11 different jobs, including HR roles here in Boise and across the country. But to me, the measure of a person is not what they achieve for themselves. It's how they dedicate their time towards the advancement, to advance the causes of others. And this is what's special about Chi. She's a curious, courteous listener, tremendously empathetic and caring, and tirelessly devoted to serving and empowering others. She's contributed to the social fabric of our university by holding over 15 different service positions, including president of the Human Resource Association and the president of International Students. Additionally, she has participated in 9 different diversity and inclusion initiatives in our community that ensure people that all backgrounds and all walks of life get an equal opportunity in the workplace and here at Boise State. Indeed, she has accepted a position at at Oklahoma State University in their management PhD program, where she'll be working alongside some of the best researchers and statisticians in our field to help advance the cause of disenfranchised people and enable them in their leadership activities. Chi, I'm tremendously proud of you. And I just can't wait to see what you're going to achieve here in the next chapters of your life. It's been the highlight of my career getting to work with you over the last 2 years. Congratulations on your graduation, on this well-deserved honor. Everyone, please welcome Chi Lan Nguyen.
Thank you very much, Liam, for such inspiration and great words. And it's my honor to stand here today. My mom always told me that when I was a kid, that travel broadens your mind. So when you're young, travel as far as you want to learn as much as you can. As an 18-year-old girl, I say goodbye to my cherished family and my beloved hometown to travel more than 7,800 miles to the other side of the globe, seeking the opportunity to understand how big the world is and how much I get to learn. After 4 years at Boise State, I have learned quite a bit about the world and much more about myself, and I can't wait to keep expanding my comfort zone. Hence, I want to send my first and biggest gratitude to my mom, who always inspires me to continue learning and growing. As Liam mentioned, she cannot be here with us today due to travel complications because of the pandemic. So, you know, a little downside of being an international student, right? Although my family is not here, I'm lucky enough to have advisors and friends who have become family. I want to thank Dr. Liam Marr, my honor faculty advisor, who has seen a scholar in me and encouraged me to learn and dream big even when I did not believe in myself. Dr. Marr has played a crucial role in framing my future, opening so many doors such as research projects, conference attendance, and networking opportunities for me to develop and grow. I want to show my appreciation to my dearest and longest advisor, Evan Ogby, the Senior Coordinator of Community Development, who's always there for me, rationalize my decisions, but providing me with support nonetheless, advocating for the opportunities that help me grow as a student leader, and cheering me on whenever I experience insecurity. Your empowerment means much more to me than any words can describe. My experience could not have been holistic without the professors from the College of Business and Economics with their insightful classes, and I want to send my special thanks to Dr. Gundy Coppins, Dr. Phyllis Klein, Dr. Ray Feng, and Dr. Timothy Dune for working with me on various aspects of leadership and research projects. I want to thank my fellow student leaders who have the opportunity to work with, learn from, and become friends. What's more important about this experience is truly the people I have encountered along the way. I still remember first knowing about the commencement ceremony at Boise State and a list of excellent students called Top 10 Scholar. A 19-year-old me was in awe of all the students who made the list, but what truly stood out to me was the diversity of the top 10 scholars that year. Seeing multiple international female students like Nitya Nukala and Nardos Ashanafi, who's also here today, I thought to myself, you know, if they can do it, maybe I can do it too. Fast forward to now, after years of hard work and motivation, I'm standing here being recognized as one of the top 10 scholars. I want to send my final thank you to the female international students who have paved the way. Thank you for inspiring me. And I want to send this message to Boise State female students of color and international students, to the 19-year-old cheese out there who are wavering and wondering about their self-worth. Keep dreaming big and trying your best, because your work is indeed not going unnoticed. Thank you.
Well, good evening, y'all. I'm Jared Talley, faculty in environmental studies in the School of Public Service here. And it is my absolute honor to introduce Claire Volgay as a top 10 scholar at Boise State University, an incredibly curious, confident, and sharp as a tack environmental leader, and soon to be Boise State graduate. Claire grew up in Idaho, which leads her to a unique appreciation for Idaho's environments and wildlife. And just like the salmon she loves to learn about and help to recover, her journey is one that has taken her across the world, but always with the purpose of bringing her back to the place she loves. Claire doesn't just learn about these Idaho environments, she lives in them, and her curiosity to better understand them so that she can live more responsibly with them is, from my perspective, one of her greatest strengths. I first met Claire in a class introducing environmental studies methods, and not surprisingly, Claire was at the top of the class, especially in her unbridled curiosity. My lessons were mere fodder for her imagination, coal in the engine of her learning. Claire learns with fervor and always asks, what's next? Where does this leave us? Her fellow students even began taking up questions she introduced in discussion in their own assignments. These are the marks of an inconspicuous leader. And in my experience, and as Claire has consistently shown, curiosity and leadership are commonly found together. And I'm not certain if Claire sees herself this way, but she is a natural leader. and her achievements are perfect evidence of this. She is an Andrus Scholar with the Andrus Center for Public Policy, a Higher Education Research Council Fellow, and a Dean's Leadership Fellow with BSU's Honors College. She has won numerous awards, including the Lan Nguyen Honors Scholarship and the prestigious Hutton Scholar Award from the American Fisheries Society. She studied abroad at the University of Agder in Norway, specifically focusing on outdoor leadership and the Norwegian ideal of Veileader, a way leader for education and mentoring. She leads Mountain Monday mountain bike rides to teach riding techniques and trail care to students. And during all of this, she earned her Bachelor of Arts in Environmental Studies from the Honors College with a minor in biology, graduating this semester magna cum laude. She's recently accepted a PhD position fully funded with the University of Washington to continue studying the salmon that she is passionate about. I'm confident that these opportunities and achievements seek Claire out as much as she seeks them out. The sort of natural leadership that Claire possesses emerges from life experience and is beyond difficult to teach. Claire is kind and thoughtful, confident, inspired, motivated, and gracious in ways that we should all hope to aspire to. Her diverse experiences and achievements provide Claire a unique intellectual maturity that is equal parts humbling and inspiring. Being a top 10 scholar is more than just being great at what you do. It is also about leading, sharing, and helping others with kindness and respect. And Claire has this in spades. And I am proud and honored to introduce such a scholar, a top 10 scholar, Claire Volgay.
Hello, everyone. Throughout all of my interviews this spring, whether for summer jobs or graduate schools, I was always asked the question, what is your biggest strength? Though I prepared for almost every possible question the interviewers would ask, I did not do so for that one. The reason being, the unique opportunities I had while at Boise State and the interdisciplinary nature of my degree made the answer clear. My usual response was an explanation of how I amassed a rather funky conglomeration of experiences, which gave me an incredible and wide view of how we interact with our natural resources. Going into my first year at BSU, I knew I wanted to explore my interest in the natural world from all different angles: history, education, policy, and science. From constructing environmental science curricula for the Boise School District, to leading my own project in a quantitative ecology lab, and even studying abroad in my ancestral homeland, I had the support and resources to fulfill goals I had held for a decade or a day. My long-term goal as a citizen and scientist of the Pacific Northwest is to serve as a land steward through environmental conservation. It was individuals like the late John Freemuth, a professor here and former endowed chair of the Andrus Center for Public Policy, that taught me finding solutions that work for both the people and the land is possible. Though I only knew him briefly before his passing, John's spirit and love for public lands helped me realize the power of one person, or even one conversation. In the pursuit to discover my role as a land steward, I found my niche, which is nestled between research and education. As easy as it is to stick to lab or fieldwork, my conversations with John and being a member of the School of Public Service enabled me to explore my role as a community servant. Experiences like choosing an outdoor education program for study abroad in Norway allowed me to uncover the joy I derive from sharing knowledge, working for others, and hopefully inspiring the next generation of leaders. This love for teaching also emerged through a role I have held technically longer than I have been a student here. I began working as a bike mechanic at the Stueckle Learning Center a week before my first classes and just finished my final shift there yesterday. The bike shop was established a decade ago, and I think I'm the first top 10 scholar from there, so I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Gabe, my crew, and all the goat heads across campus that kept me busy by puncturing tires. At the CLC, I experienced the power of a constant learning and teaching dynamic, how exhilarating accessible education is, and what leadership from the heart looks like. As I've reflected on my accomplishments, I am, for lack of a more true word, absolutely stoked that I've evolved into the academic individual I had dreamed of becoming. I don't think my younger self would be able to fathom that an innate curiosity about anything and everything outdoors would evolve into pursuing a PhD in aquatic and fisheries sciences. It's still difficult to comprehend my evolutionary path, starting as a kid, baffled by the story of a single sockeye salmon, then spending time as a high school volunteer in a fish hatchery, and now realizing I will soon be part of the best fisheries program in the country. I feel fortunate to have witnessed that build-up in another 2022 top 10 scholar, Audrey Parker. We first met 16 years ago in Girl Scouts, and well, you can ask our parents how chaotic things got from there. Audrey, I feel truly lucky to have grown with you and to celebrate our successes here today. I'm sure Mrs. O'Brien, our third grade teacher, would be proud to hear where not one, but two of her students are now. Though we will not be attending the same school for the first time ever this fall, and will literally be on opposite sides of the country, I just wanted to say that I'm glad we're ending this chapter right alongside one another. So cheers to us, Kade, and all of the other top 10 scholars. We did something right. With that, I want to thank the Honors College and Alumni Association for presenting these awards, and the faculty members who supported me through the highs and lows of my undergraduate career. Thank you, Dr. Talley, for the encouragement and guidance that allowed me to evolve my passion for the environment into personal and professional goals. Thank you to each of my mentors, like Hannah. I'm not sure this culminating time would have been manageable without your help and friendship. Most of all, I want to thank my family and partner Michael for upholding my tenacious attitude and supporting my ambitions, no matter the scale or complexity. As easy as it is to doubt myself, you are all always so sure of my capabilities, and I know I can count on you guys to cheer like it's a Nebraska Cornhusker game day. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Haight. I'm a lecturer in the Mechanical and Biomedical Engineering Department, and I am honored to be here joining you to introduce Emma Cameron. I met Emma in the fall of 2019 in engineering statics. For mechanical engineers, this is the first real engineering course that applies math and physics. It also covers many critical concepts that are applied in future classes. This was the first time I had taught this course. It was also the first time that I had ever taught a technical math-based course after working in industry for many years. I spent the semester learning with the students. To say I made a few mistakes is an understatement. I was not perfect, and she was never hesitant to ask me respectful questions about the potential that I had some issues in my calculations. Out of 100 students over 2 sections, she was one of the only few students to get an A+. In that class, I experienced her gracious nature, her persistence, her hard work, and her dedication. At that time, I had no idea what she had already accomplished or what she would do before seeing her again in my senior design course this year. After growing up in the north part of San Diego, her freshman year at Boise State was spent in the engineering, living, and learning community on campus. That year, she also joined the Phi Sigma Rho sorority and worked in the Mini Baja team in the mechanical engineering department. The summer between her freshman and sophomore year, she spent in Italy in a study abroad program. Over the next few years, Emma worked with 3 different companies in internships. In the summer of 2020, she traveled to Ohio to work for Gear Lab, where she learned the details of gear production and design for manufacturing. Though she really enjoyed this position and they really wanted her back, the following summer, her passion for Jeeps and off-roading led her to an internship at 4 Wheel Parts. Once again, Emma's persistence and dedication came into play. 4 Wheel Drive did not have an internship open or even funded. Emma sent an email to their HR department every week for the full academic year, restating her interest and asking for a position. Finally, they gave her a position just 2 weeks before the end of the semester. At 4 Wheel Drive, she worked in the engineering department with the manufacturing department to design and build a cargo solution for the F-150. Her success in this role led her to be the second individual to enter the company in a full-time rotational program, taking her through quality, manufacturing, and engineering that she will start, I think, this summer, which is really exciting. This semester, Emma has been working for Smoke Guard, expanding her knowledge of programming, first article inspection, and qualifying new suppliers. Emma has also received many scholarships, including an award from SEMA, which is the Specialty Equipment Market Association. Really cool, if you guys look it up if you don't know what it is. But last semester, SEMA funded a student experience to attend this amazing trade-only automotive aftermarket event. And when Emma found out she was selected on scholarship, she was more than excited. And the glimmer in her eye when she told me about the opportunity is more than words could ever say. So as you listen to this amazing list of compliments, you may be asking, as I did, Emma, how in the world did you get all of these amazing experiences and opportunities? Well, I asked her that. And what she said, paraphrased, of course, is, I just decided to do it, and then I did it. So my words for today can't portray how proud I am of Emma, and I can't wait to see what mountains she will move when she puts her mind to it. So please welcome me in joining Emma Cameron.
So I grew up working in the garage with my dad, a fellow mechanical engineer who always had a project or two going on. At first I complained, as most young girls would. Holding the flashlight for my dad was the last thing I wanted to do on a Saturday morning. Over the years, I got promoted from flashlight duty to fetching the tools and then to actually using the tools. It was here that I discovered an aptitude for hands-on work and problem solving. It wasn't until we got our first Jeep that I began to fully embrace my passion for cars. I knew that my career needed to be tactile, include problem solving, and ideally work with Jeeps. It was in the garage that I decided that I wanted a career doing design in the aftermarket off-road industry. My first step towards this goal was a degree in mechanical engineering at Boise State University, and that was my place to do that. There are so many reasons why a student might choose to come to Boise State for their degree. Maybe the program is renowned, or they got the right scholarship. Maybe the beautiful trees drew them in, or the close proximity to the ski slopes let them go up every day. Maybe it was the iconic blue field and a dominating football team. But for me, it was that I didn't feel like just any other student. I wasn't just a number. I saw that this is the place to individualize my college experience, and I knew that I would have a team of faculty by my side to support me. I have felt genuine care coming from every staff member and professor in a way that I can't believe is possible at another university. My first encounter with the professors at Boise State leads back to April of 2018 when I toured the Engineering and Innovation Residential Community led by Dr. Krishna Pakala in Morrison Hall. I wanted to live in the shiny new sawtooth dorms, but my parents convinced me that this community in Morrison would be much more beneficial, and boy were they right. I studied in big groups, went on nighttime trips to get food, we went whitewater rafting, and I made friends that have lasted for 4 years. I will never forget building a huge 20-step chain reaction machine in just 2 weekends for our final project. My team and I cheered so loudly when it ran through smoothly for the first time. But the best thing I got out of Morrison Hall was a connection with Dr. Pakala. He has never failed to write me letters of recommendation or offer support when I needed it. He loves to watch his students succeed, and I thank you for everything, Dr. Pakala. I also want to thank my honored faculty member, Sarah Haight. She was my first look at a successful woman in the automotive industry. She laid the foundation for my engineering education by teaching me statics, and I have now concluded my senior design project under her guidance. Sarah, thank you for demonstrating how to be a strong female leader and constantly encouraging my career goals. While at Boise State, I always felt like I had the chance to be involved and do something impactful. I led the sorority Phi Sigma Rho as president and got to create a community for women in difficult majors like engineering. I got to be a part of clubs and be a peer tutor for students following behind me. I got to speak on panels and influence prospective students. My professors worked with me to be able to attend an automotive conference and network with people in my industry. I'm so grateful for the path I took and everyone who influenced me along the way. Thank you to the faculty in the College of Engineering, Dean Joanne Leidy, Lynn Olson, Dr. Todd Atanikar, Dr. Dawn Plumley, and Doug Hagemeyer, who have always been valuable resources and mentors. And thank you to my fellow engineering students for being willing to help each other through the journey. I want to thank my roommates, Jenna and Julianne, for being with me through the highs and lows, and always being down for a quick trip to the Still. Thank you, Jaden, for giving me the best example of perseverance. Thank you, Peter, for the countless hours of homework, and most importantly, teaching me to snowboard. Last but not least, I want to thank my parents. You've been there even when I denied that I should be an engineer, and you cried with me when I got my dream internship. Dad, I will always treasure the knowledge I get from you. And Mom, I love how excited you get discussing the similarities of our jobs around the dinner table. You're my biggest supporters, and I can't thank you enough. This journey was long, but so rewarding, and it led me to my goals. In July, I'll begin a position in the development program at 4 Wheel Parts, the top company in the aftermarket off-road industry. The program rotates through the quality, manufacturing, and engineering departments and focuses on the production of aftermarket parts for trucks and Jeeps. I'm so grateful for the time that I've spent at Boise State and that it can be concluded by being named a top 10 scholar. Thank you again to everyone who touched my life while in college, and go Broncos.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kate Hipschman, and I run the Fellowship Advising Office for the Honors College. It's my honor to introduce my top 10 scholar, Grace Hall. I have had the great joy of working with Grace over the past 3 years as she applied to nationally competitive awards like the Critical Language Scholarship and the Fulbright U.S. Student Program. When Grace was in her first year at Boise State, she didn't plan to pursue an interdisciplinary degree specializing in Arabic, political science, and global studies. She didn't plan to write an intermediate Arabic textbook or conduct research on environmental conservation programs, earn a TESOL certificate, or mentor refugee youth. In all honesty, she didn't initially plan to stay at Boise State, having decided to transfer after her first year so she could attend a university that offered an Arabic major so that would open the door to a career in Middle Eastern diplomacy. But there's a saying about best laid plans. And when they went to Rye in spring of 2020, along with everything else that year, the deep strength of Grace's character was revealed. Grace, perhaps more than any other student I've worked with, embodies the idea of failing forward, of not letting rejection or changes in plans derail her sense of self or her pursuit of her goals. When her time in Israel was cut short due to pandemic, and when CLS fell through, she didn't wallow over what she had lost. Instead, she picked herself up and looked for a new path. I respect many things about Grace, her intelligence, her tenacity, her wicked writing skills. But I think what I admire most is the way in which she has taken her experiences of disappointment and struggle and channeled them into a deep understanding of and empathy for the world around her. Grace seeks out and embraces the interconnectedness that exists in all parts of life, whether it be between academic subjects or between individuals. It's that desire for connection that's led her to found the Arabic Club on campus and help teach ESL courses through the intensive English program in College of Western Idaho. It spurred her to apply for and win a Fulbright scholarship to Jordan, where over the next year she'll teach English and support women's empowerment through education and community development projects. I know that this is only the beginning of the great work she will do in the Middle East, and that as she goes forward in her diplomatic career, I know she will center her work on serving others and building relationships, because that's who she is. She's a connector. Grace, it's been my deepest honor being a part of your academic journey. Thank you for trusting me with your story, for reflecting deeply through the writing process, and always being game when I'd say, maybe we should start this essay over from scratch. I am so proud of you, and I'm so excited to see what you do next. Congratulations.
Okay, I will try not to get emotional because I get emotional when I'm nervous. So, first of all, I would like to say that it's a huge honor to be standing here amongst these other students being awarded the title of Top 10 Scholar. Congratulations to you all, and congratulations to those that were nominated. We stand here not only as a testament to how hard each of us has worked, but as an example of our graduating class's ability to persevere through a global pandemic, online classes, and any other challenges life has thrown our way. When I started my journey at Boise State, I didn't believe that I would ever find my place. For those of you that don't know me, I've been studying Arabic for going on 7 years, and I'm extremely passionate about Middle Eastern studies. Given that Boise State only offers an Arabic minor, I was worried that studying any other subject would leave me feeling unfulfilled in my degree. But standing here today, I'm glad to say that freshman Grace was wrong. As my father always says, college, or any experience for that matter, is what you make it to be. Taking his advice to heart, I decided that I was going to blaze my own path. I continued to pursue Arabic through studying abroad in Israel and Morocco, where I developed a nuanced understanding of regional politics and cultures. On campus, I created my own opportunities to get involved through establishing the Boise State Arabic Club, writing my own Arabic resources, tutoring, and becoming a study abroad advisor at the Global Learning Opportunities Office. Additionally, through the Interdisciplinary Studies program, I was able to create my own specialized degree. Studying a variety of subjects, including Arabic, political science, global studies, and TESOL education, has prepared me with the necessary skills to tackle complex global issues in my future career field. Through advocating for myself and shaping my own college experience, I realized that I do belong, and I'm proud to be graduating with a degree from Boise State. But I would have never gotten this far if it hadn't been for all the amazing people that helped me along the way. Firstly, I would like to thank my fellowship advisor and mentor, Kade Hipschman, who is here today as my honored faculty. I have worked with Kate since my freshman year, and she has not only watched me grow as a writer and a person, but she has been the catalyst of that growth. She pushed me to reflect on my mindset and goals, helping to realize my own potential. Her dedication, support, and countless hours of essay revision have helped me receive multiple scholarships, including the Fulbright Scholarship to Jordan. Yet what I value most about Kate is her friendship. My freshman year, I felt like I had no support system on campus and was considering transferring. But then Kate stepped in. It was one of the first people at Boise State who I felt acknowledged and valued my unique interests. Her mentorship has played an instrumental role in my education, and no amount of words can express how much I value her opinion and support. As I pursue opportunities to teach English abroad, it is Kate's mentorship that inspires me to be a better educator and make a difference in my own students' lives. The next individuals I would like to thank are my family. My mom and dad have supported me through all of my ups and downs and continue to be my inspirations for what success and fulfillment looks like in life. I would also like to say thank you to my parents and grandparents for supporting my passions. I know how scary it must be to have a daughter or granddaughter who travels to the Middle East frequently and for fun, but you have always supported what makes me happy, and is that support that drives me to pursue my career goals. Finally, I would like to briefly thank a few other faculty members that have supported me on my educational journey who unfortunately were not able to be here today. I would like to thank Professor Nisha Ballinger for seeing my potential in the world of policy and for letting me write every single one of her class papers on the Middle East. Amber Hoy for helping me expand the Arabic community on campus and supporting my language studies. Professor Libby Lundstrom for seeing my potential and taking me on as a research assistant. And finally, Ruth Paul and the IEP team for helping me grow as a student and a teacher. Thank you all, and I'm honored to accept the distinction of Top 10 Scholar.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lisa McLean, and I'm a professor in history and the Gender Studies program, and I am here to introduce you to Kate Weiss. For the last 4 years, I have had both the privilege and the pleasure of serving as a professor and a mentor for Kate Weiss. Like all these phenomenal, accomplished young people being honored here today, Kate is a talented and accomplished scholar and campus and community citizen. I could praise her superlative research, analytical and communication skills. I could attest to her insatiable enthusiasm and curiosity. And I could testify to Kate's strength of character and proven track record of working effectively with people from a variety of backgrounds. treating all people with respect and dignity. All this would be true, but somehow it seems insufficient to describe Kate. So instead, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Kate Weiss, the human being. When Kate arrived here as a freshman from California, she saw so much on our university campus to experience, to learn, to try. But in all honesty, she was a little bit awestruck because everything here seemed really great, but surely that was for all those other students, not for her. But there was this aha moment when she realized that yes, indeed, all this was for her too. And this campus and community became her oyster. She got jobs in campus admissions and student recruitment, through which she learned all about her university. She joined student clubs and organizations. She went to more social justice-oriented events than I think I've ever seen a student attend. She was invited to join our Intermountain Social Research Lab as both a researcher, but also as a mentor in diversity. She's completed several internships with organizations addressing gender issues and refugee issues. She was even chosen to represent students on the student board for diversity, equity, and inclusion on campus. And in this, her last semester at BSU, she has just completed a paid internship with the Human Rights Campaign, the Washington, D.C.-based organization that is a leader in advocacy on LGBTQ rights. I even understand they've offered her a job. But she's going to have to choose between that and graduate school in human rights at institutions like Columbia and the University of Minnesota. Now, some students, in my experience, do all of the sorts of things I've just described Kate doing because they need lines for their resumes. They think it's going to make them look good and look more competitive on the job market. But Kate did all this because for the first time, she could. And because she cares. Throughout the time that I have known her, Kate Weiss has been passionately committed to increasing the capacity of people to improve the conditions of their lives. Kate Weiss is a scholar and a leader, but more than this, she is a kind, ethical young woman of deep faith. And she's what I like to call a bridge builder, because she draws people together across their differences to make a difference. It has been one of the most gratifying experiences I have had as a professor, to watch Kate Weiss grow as a scholar and as a human being. I'm not exaggerating when I inform you that Kate Weiss is probably the student with the greatest talent and potential for success that I have ever taught in my 20-plus years of university teaching. And trust me, I am usually not this effusive. This is surprising me as much as it may be surprising you. So it is my great pleasure to introduce to you Kate Weiss as a top 10 scholar.
Well, a little over 4 years ago, I actually threw my admissions letter to Boise State in the trash. I swore I would never go to a school in Idaho, and more importantly, never a school with the colors blue and orange. How grateful I am that my sweet mother, who doubles as my best friend, secretly changed the flight from going to tour another school to Boise my senior year of high school. It was because of those magical 24 hours in Boise, Idaho, one incredibly cold day in the middle of January that changed my life forever. The last 4 years, I've not only learned how to bleed blue and orange and love the colors, avoid the geese in the quad, and ski, even if I was tobogganed down a mountain this year by a rescue crew. But more than that, this university has taught me that the only way to fully help change the world around me is to step into spaces while being authentically and unapologetically me, and making room to do that for the person next to you. Being raised by a single mother, I never thought a four-year university would be an option for me. Boise State showed me that with a support system who sees your potential, even when you may have it blurred by the world around you, that even your wildest dreams can become a reality. And more importantly, that your relationships with those in your support system are far greater than anything else. Dr. McLean, thank you for letting me sit in your office, often angry or devastatingly sad at the world and inequities around me my freshman year until now. You let me know that it was okay to question the systems I was a part of, the people around me, and want better for my neighbors. You showed me that women have a place in academia, that you can be a mother, a professor, a Christian, a liberal, and anything you want all at once, while being unapologetically and authentically you. For my professors in the Honors College, from Dr. Heyer to Dr. Woods, who have let me come to them when imposter syndrome felt too strong to carry on, and made me smile and realize the gratitude I had for the world around me that I now found myself in. To working in the admissions office with Sydney Montgomery and helping other students find their home within this campus by telling them the exact story of the trashed admissions letter. To conducting undergraduate research with Dr. Arthur Scarrett and Dr. Michael Kreider on racist diversity and neoliberal higher education, and for showing me truly how much power education has through their mentorship, encouragement, and endless jokes. To working for the Idaho Office for Refugees with Kara Fink and Christina Bruce Bennion during the Afghanistan refugee crisis, or getting the chance to work with the Human Rights Campaign this semester. There's not a moment I would trade of the time I've had here at Boise State. To my mom, my other half, thank you for building this beautiful life for me. For showing me that sometimes life is tragic and sometimes life is magic, and for never giving up on us or our dreams. Sorry. To the other sweet people here with me today, you're evidence that human connection is the purest gift of the world in which we inhabit, and true proof that Boise State and the people here have changed my life forever. You continually give me and my overly empathetic heart space to be me, and I love you with my whole heart. I will always be each of your biggest fans, no matter where life takes us. To Boise State, the Honors College, and the different nuanced places and people that have molded and shifted and shaped me throughout the valleys and the highest tops of the mountains the last 4 years, thank you will never be enough to suffice for how much I love you. As I embark on my next adventure, this small town girl with crazy dreams will one day soon finally make a decision between getting her master's in human rights at Columbia University or the University of Minnesota. But before I go, please hear me when I say thank you for continually challenging me to think and feel differently, and for pushing me closer to my goals of creating a more equitable and gorgeously beautiful world. Thank you for showing me how to be everything you want to be all at once. Now I get to bleed blue and orange for the rest of my life and be pretty dang proud while doing it. Thank you.
Wow, these are not top 10 scholars. They're going to be top 10 change makers of the world. Good evening. My name is Krishna Pakala, Assistant Professor in Mechanical and Biomedical Engineering. It is my great pleasure to introduce the final top 10 scholar, Sierra Sanderson. Science, engineering, and art are just facets of the same thing. If you can engage your research from the eye of a scientist, the eye of an engineer, the eye of an artist, you can make more meaningful impact. I know it's late, but let us think for a second about Da Vinci. How could he be so unique? A great artist, scientist, architect, all at once. You see, he saw the similarities among his projects, not the differences. Sierra integrates her diverse identities in a powerful Da Vinci-like way. She has shown us what a Renaissance woman is capable of in today's world. Don't believe me? Let me make my case then. Exhibit A. She is not your typical engineering student. We can teach students how to get an A+, no problem. I get paid to do that. But it takes a special one to engineer for common good, and it is in Sierra's DNA. She's inventing better solutions for diabetes. She's a leader building a community in her sorority. She's an advocate for accessibility and equity in the classroom and beyond. She is a successful entrepreneur with a 3D printing company. Some of her most popular products are these pride slugs, which represents the rainbow colors and the trans, which educate people on the different gender identities and sexualities. Her message, everyone belongs. Exhibit B. If you follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, please do at @1KrishnaPakala. You know how much I love Buster. He is the best collegiate mascot, period. Buster even posted on his Instagram for my birthday. The only other person to get that honor is Dr. Trump, so I'm excited. I had no idea for years, until just 3 weeks ago. The reason was Buster was so excited always to see me was that all along, it was my best student in disguise. Exhibit C. I'm not a lawyer. I want my students to always aim for excellence. We all do. But it is the journey that matters, not the final outcome. At one point, I heard Sierra was planning on dropping out of engineering. I decided to intervene and met with her. In that meeting, she showed me this goal board. Which had 2 goals on this: top 10 scholar and commencement speaker. The meeting outcome? She stayed in engineering. We worked together to pursue her goals. You see, even when she doesn't achieve them all, she strives towards things that most people would be too scared to even dream about. And finally, Exhibit D. And the question of the day: why is Krishna decked out in pink? You see, Sierra knows we are still in a world where girls are raised to be cautious and boys to be brave. This is why women are underrepresented in STEM and everywhere. Sierra wears pink loudly and proudly, being herself in the classroom to show others that there is more than one way to look like an engineer. Everyone belongs. I'm joined by her dad today with our matching pink suits. Could you please stand to recognize? To celebrate Sierra and the fact that engineers can absolutely wear pink and rock it. Sierra is a scholar. She is an advocate. She is an entrepreneur. She is Boise State's very own Da Vinci, pink and powerful. And with that, I rest my case. Please help me welcome Sierra Sanderson to the stage.
Oh my God, I've cried so much. I brought my napkin, but thank God they have tissues. Allie and Anna got me off to a rough start. Starting the waterworks. Okay. This is kind of embarrassing, but I didn't know what an engineer was until I was probably 22. I think if you had asked me then, I would have guessed that an engineer was maybe a train driver. So I never wanted to be one, but I did go through a long phase of wanting to be an inventor. As I got older and didn't meet any inventors, I just assumed it was a make-believe job that nobody really had. It has taken me 10 years to finish my undergrad, but I am grateful for every single moment. I have had a few distractions. My sophomore year, I was crowned Miss Idaho 2014. I went viral for wearing my insulin pump on the Miss America stage. I published my memoir, Sugar Linings, and I have now given more than 100 motivational speeches in over 30 different states. In a lot of my speeches, I joked about first telling my friends that I wanted to compete in pageants. And they laughed and asked if my talent was going to be solving a calculus problem to music, since that seemed to be the only thing I excelled at in high school. Every time I told this joke, audience members assumed I was pursuing something in STEM, and I would laugh and say, no, I wish there was a degree path that would make my silly childhood dream of becoming an inventor come true, but no, I was studying business. Without fail, someone would come up to me after every conference and insist that engineering sounded like a perfect fit for me. So Eventually, I came back to Boise State, this time studying mechanical engineering. I loved the topics, but I had been in full-time beauty queen mode for like 3 years, and I felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb in the classrooms full of boys in their jeans and their flannels and boots. For a while, I stopped wearing pink. I tried to tone myself down, and I kept quiet in class so no one would realize how lost I was. The feeling of not belonging began to wear on me. At one point, I had 23% in my thermodynamics class. The now retired professor, who shall remain nameless, lectured the class about reconsidering whether or not engineering was the right path for us, since the average grades in his classes were so low. At one point, he also told me, one of 3 girls in the room at the time, to calm down when I asked him if something scribbled on the board was a theta or a phi. I ended up dropping the class, and I made an advising appointment with another department to discuss leaving engineering completely. As you know from Dr. Pakala's story, he heard rumors that I was giving up and decided to intervene. And that meeting was the first time someone looked me in the eyes and said, "You belong in engineering, and I'm so sorry anyone has ever made you feel otherwise." And so I stayed. Sorry. 1 second, I need to stop crying. After that, I shamelessly wore pink and crop tops and heels to class. I asked questions in lecture every single time I was confused, no longer caring if my peers thought I was annoying or dumb. They did. But I took up space, I used my voice, and I have learned and grown so much more because of it. Even though I am now very confident in my abilities and accomplishments, I know that I would not be standing here without a mentor like Krishna seeing my potential and going out of his way to make sure I never, ever miss an opportunity. Thank you for going above and beyond your job description every day, for believing in and supporting your students so passionately, for going to bat for me too many times to count, and for being proud of me, even when I fail. Sorry. The highlight of my time at Boise State is something that has remained top secret until this week. As you now know, I have spent the past several years crawling into a sweaty horse costume for the honor and privilege of being Bronco Nation's best friend, Buster Bronco. While I was trying to reconcile my hyper-feminine girly side with my identity as an engineer, Buster also showed me that deep down I had this like class clown meets jock energy that I'd never allowed myself to express before. I also want to thank Buster for being there for me in some of my darkest moments. I can't even describe how magical it is to put on a costume and walk into a football stadium and all of a sudden be best friends with every single person you see. It made me feel so loved in moments where I'd felt so alone and hopeless. Buster had a way of reminding me that life was worth living and melting away the depression in a way that a list of accomplishments never could. I will miss him so much. But thank you guys for all of the selfies and all of the high fives and all of the hugs, because I needed them more than you will ever know. Dad, we had a conversation recently in which I apologized for being such a challenging, strong-willed child to raise. But somehow you never made me feel bossy or difficult or emotional or aggressive. Your response was,
It was hard sometimes, but I always knew that you were going to grow into a powerful, passionate woman, and I hope I never made you feel like I wanted you to change. I don't express my appreciation for you enough, so thank you, and I love you. Okay, I'm sorry. Finally, thank you to Dr. Leidy, Griff Allen, Amy Vecchione, Dr. Peter Molnar, Dr. Rosanna Holliday, my favorite inventor, Caleb Chung, and the whole team at It's Alive Labs, every single one of my sorority sisters, the courageous Allie Orr, my best friend, Allie Bunch, Leanne Dufarina, Deanna Garza, all of the Cohen staff, and so many others, for seeing and loving and respecting and encouraging every side of me. I am an engineer. I am a beauty queen. I am a sweaty, mischievous, football-playing horse. I am diabetic. I am an entrepreneur. I am an artist. I am a leader, and I am an inventor. This community has made room for all of the pieces of my identity to coexist and allowed me to express and explore and celebrate every side of me. Being fully seen and accepted for every part of who you are isn't something that everyone gets to experience in their lifetime. But it is so empowering. So thank you for giving that to me.
Wow. Our incredible faculty and students tonight more than fulfilled the promise I made at the outset of this program. I want to pause for a moment to honor our faculty for their work to lead, teach, care, and mentor. Would you please acknowledge them with a round of applause? And our students. You are not only amazing scholars and leaders, you are amazing people. What a gift for us today. Sierra. To be able to hear from you, to hear about your dreams and visions for the world, to imagine, to see what you've already done, and to imagine what you will do next. Today, collectively, you have called us, through your stories, to be better, to make the world better. The amount of courage, creativity, tenacity, humanity, and ferocity in this group should inspire all of us. Can't read my own writing. All of you talked about the critical nature of community, of connection. You helped us see when we provided that and when we failed. I will carry your words on my heart. I'm so glad all of you came to Boise State. You have made a difference here. I'm so glad all of you challenged yourselves and challenged us. I'm so glad too that you came here tonight, because a part of what you did is you gave back in this incredibly condensed space the power of what it means to take ideas and passion and commitment and creativity and ferocity and generosity and to bring it to life. So I thank you and I celebrate you, and if we can, would you please rise to your feet and honor our top 10 scholars. Thank you so much. Congratulations again to our scholars and to their incredible faculty mentors. I'm really excited for commencement. Bring your poncho. It's going to be an extraordinary event, and I know that what you've seen here tonight is a slice of what happens on our campus every day. The people who've come before you are truly representative in every way of our incredible student community and the thousands of people who will receive their diplomas tomorrow. So thank you again. Thank you for being here, and thank you to the wonderful folks who put this together. Good night.